bit of transfer news plus a transfer rumour a week after the transfer window has closed. But Wes Fodringham is no longer a West Ham United player. The club have confirmed he's joined Cyprus side Aris Limassol on a permanent transfer. Now, other details regarding the transfer are non-existent at present. So whether we've somehow received a transfer fee, which feels unlikely, is yet to be revealed. So I would assume we've sanctioned a free transfer. And I think there's two potential reasons that we've done that. One is that Wes has been offered first team football, and therefore he said to the club, can you sanction this transfer so I can go to Cyprus? I want to go to Cyprus. I'm going to get first team football there. It's a transfer I want to make happen. And I can understand why he would want that if that's happened. I think that's the most likely one. The other reason, and it is assumption time because that's all you can do at the minute. My other reason is that Graham Potter just isn't too keen on his goalkeepers at the minute. He's got Mads Hermansen, he's got Alphonse Areola, and obviously he had Wes Fodringham. I think it's possible that due to the start to the season from Hermansen and Areola, Potter's looked at it and thought, I wish I still had Łukasz Fabiański here. And that's what we're trying to make happen. In order to do so, we needed Fodringham to leave to free up that wages, and then we could try and bring Fabianski back in. Because that's the transfer rumour that was going around yesterday, that we're looking to re-sign Łukasz Fabiański. Now, I seen that rumour before I seen the news about Fodringham potentially going to Cyprus, which has now been confirmed. So when I seen that we were looking to re-sign Fabianski, the geocog started going. I thought, well, why would this be happening? Now, my assumption was Areola. I thought, well, the Turkish transfer window's open until Friday. He was linked with a move to a couple of Turkish clubs at the end of our transfer window. Maybe one of them have made a move for him. Maybe he wants to get out of West Ham. He's decided, I don't want to play second fiddle to Hermansen. I don't want to sit on the bench at West Ham this season. We are already out the Carabao Cup. So that sort of cup run I was going to get no longer exists. So if Areola was to only play the cup games, he ain't got another match until January. Now, if you were a friend of Areola or an agent of Areola, you might say, well, actually, wait where you are, Alphonse, because that new guy's not started too brightly. So there's a good chance that he's going to have a bad performance at some point soon and you're going to get back in. But I could understand if Areola wanted out of West Ham and if a move to Turkey was there, if he wanted it, I would completely get it. And I would also understand if we were looking to cash in. If a club had made an offer of 5, 6, 7, 8 million for him, but also more importantly that wages, 100 grand a week he's supposedly on at West Ham. If the club have looked at it and thought, right, let's get the money in, get the wages off the book and bring in Łukasz Fabiański, sorted. So that was my assumption when I seen that we were looking to re-sign Fabianski. I thought, ooh, there's something happening with Areola. But now I've discovered, well, there's no rumour regarding Areola. It may also be true, but that's not there. That does not exist. But then when I discovered the news about Wes Fodringham, I thought maybe Graham Potter just wants to upgrade his goalkeeper. Because going from Wes Fodringham to Łukasz Fabiański, if that happens, if he does come back, that would be a significant upgrade as far as I'm concerned. Because there was no way we were going to see Wes Fodringham play this season. We weren't going to see him play unless there was suspensions and injuries to Hermansen and Areola. We would not see Fodringham. I think there's a chance we see Fabianski, even if Hermansen and Areola were 100% fit. I thought Fabianski did all right last season. When it came to the summer, I would have retained his services. I would have offered him a new contract. I don't think we did. I think we just decided that was it. Off you go. But, and I am surprised he's not got a new club yet, because I think he performed well in the Premier League last season. So I would assume he's had plenty of offers. There just hasn't been one that's tickled his fancy at present. And given that he's still a free agent, the club's obviously thought maybe, hello, let's get him in and we'll see if we can offload Wes Fodringham. And then that way we've got 3 really good goalkeepers. West Ham, I assume, would have a good negotiating stance with Fabianski at present. In the case of, well, you've been unemployed for a couple of months now, so what you were on last season, you ain't getting that anymore. We'll give you a bit more than what Wes Fodringham was on, because apparently he was on like championship goalkeeper wages at best, because effectively that's what he was. Sheffield United came up, he had a stint in the Premier League with Sheffield United, and then he went back down again and became a free agent. So I think his wages were really low, much lower than what Fabianski was on last season. But I would see it as a significant upgrade to go from Hermansen, Areola, Foderingham to Hermansen, Areola, Fabianski. Huge upgrade. The only complaint I've got is that he's not had any pre-season, and West Ham re-signing a player after pre-season isn't anything new. See Carlton Cole. I think there's a fear among some people, myself included, that we might do the same with Michail Antonio, especially when the news of Fulkrug come out. Oh no, we're going to do it again. We're ready to re-sign a striker. So between then and now, all that's happened is they've not had any pre-season. But given how professional Fabianski is, one would expect him to be really fit, just lacking match sharpness. So yeah, I'd be pleased to see Fabianski back at the club. I was disappointed to see him leave. If you said to me back in June, obviously prior to the first 2 appearances for him, you said to me in June, your goalkeepers next season, you're going to sell Areola, and you're going to bring in Mads Hermansen, but you're going to retain Foderingham and Fabianski. So your 3 keepers next season at West Ham were Hermansen, Fabianski, Foderingham. I'd be okay with that. Obviously, the 2 of the 3 performances so far from him have not been good and been quite scary. But I think I would have been happy with that. I was happy with what I seen from Fabianski last season. I was disappointed we let him go. So, yeah, I'd be pleased to see him back. It's just, why, isn't it? Is it because Fodringham's been offered first-team football and he's wanted to go, so we've approved it? Or is it because Graham Potter is just unsure on Hermansen and Areola and he wants Fabianski back at the club? I suppose both can be true. I'd imagine one of the 2 are true. I struggle to believe that, I don't think we're better off financially doing this, by the way, letting Foderingham go and bring in Fabianski. I'd imagine our wage bill will creep up a little bit. I don't believe there will be a transfer fee from the Cypriot side for Wes Foderingham. Could be wrong. But anyway, that's the transfer news, and that's the transfer rumour. But we've got an offer for you. We've got an offer for you. Do you have a VPN on your devices right now? If not, you should consider getting one. Just Google it, benefits of a VPN. Have a little read about VPNs. And if you decide, actually, I do fancy getting one of these, or certainly I would like to try one of these and see if it makes a difference, then we've got an offer for you with Surfshark. If you head over to surfshark.com/HammersChat, you will get 4 months free VPN plus as part of their benefits when you sign up. You've got a 30-day money-back guarantee. So you do your Googling, do your research, and you think, I'm going to give it a go. But then after 2-3 weeks, you think, I wish I never got this. That's okay. You can get a complete 100% refund as long as it's within the 30 days. Now, VPNs have lots of different benefits. My favourite one, though, now VPNs are all about security, but my favourite one is changing your geolocation. So if you're wanting to watch something this weekend that wasn't available on YouTube in your country, but was available in a different country's YouTube, you just change your location. You can access it. So let's just say there was something on American YouTube and I wanted to watch it. I go on Surfshark, I change my location to America. Then I go on YouTube. YouTube thinks I'm in America and it allows me to access American YouTube. I can then watch what I wanted to watch in America while sat here in the UK, thanks to changing the geolocation of my VPN with Surfshark. And you only need one account. If you're thinking, oh, would I put it on my phone? I've got my iPad, I've got my computer, I've got my kids. All of them. One account, unlimited devices. Surfshark.com/HammersChat. Links in the description below if you fancy giving it a go and accessing all the perks a VPN gives you, plus that change of geolocation. Right then, Fulkrug injured. Yes, I know I'm a bit late to the party. I took the weekend off. Well, actually, I took Sunday. I didn't take any days off, to be fair. I consider it a day off. If I don't turn a computer on, I consider it a day off. So Sunday technically was a day off in my head. Although technically it wasn't, because I still did shop orders and stuff. But anyway, I promised Mrs. Geo no videos on Sunday. I didn't do any. I stuck to it. I was a good boy. But I seen Fulkrug got injured. I seen the comments. I on Friday that he'd been taken out the squad, the replacement had been called up, calf injury, the same, it was a calf injury that kept him out for a few months last season as well. I thought, oh, here we go. Monday, the transfer window closes. Friday, Füllkrug's injured. Who's seen this coming? Answer, everyone except David Sullivan. Everyone knew you can't rely on those two strikers. We've got two senior strikers, and both senior strikers are injury prone. So, maths, statistics, data. Football clubs are so data heavy these days. I find it wild that we've decided to go into the season with Füllkrug and Wilson as our two recognised strikers, because the data would suggest that's a bad idea. They get injured frequently, the pair of them. They both get injured a lot. So to rely on those two to stay fit is a stupid thing to do. So Füllkrug's get injured. There you go. Surprise, surprise. Now I have reservations over Wilson starting games. Now, I didn't want to sign him. I'm not going to change. I'm not going to pretend I did. I was dead against this. A large part of it because of what he represented as well as the player himself. But when I seen him for Newcastle, and I won't change my mind on this, and Newcastle fans agree, he was crap last season for Newcastle. He looked finished. However, I've been impressed with what I've seen from him in a West Ham shirt. He came on against Chelsea, albeit the bar was low, but I thought he looked all right. He worked hard. I thought he looked okay. Came on against Nottingham Forest, made a big difference. Got a great goal as well. I still have reservations over whether he'd be as effective playing 90 minutes and starting games. I still have concerns if he'd be able to play 90 minutes of football, or if we could only get a maximum of an hour out of him, say, for example. So I still have some reservations, although I like the transfer a lot more than I did when he first rocked up. Now, obviously, you'd look at Callum Marshall and think opportunity, but I'm not convinced it does. I think we'd see, if Wilson was unable to play and Füllkrug was injured, I think we'd see Bowen up front. And if Bowen, for whatever reason, didn't play up front or couldn't play up front, I think we'd see Paqueta up front. I think Marshall's possibly Potter's fifth choice striker at this point. Now, I watched the Germany-Northern Ireland game. Listen, I promised her I wouldn't turn the computer on and record videos. I did one on Saturday, but I didn't do any on Sunday. But I didn't promise her I wouldn't watch any football. So I watched the Northern Ireland-Germany game. Good game. Northern Ireland were unlucky not to get something out of it. I was rooting for them, actually. But Marshall came on. Didn't really see him, to be honest with you. It was just Germany. They were leading at this point now, and they were just keeping the ball. And Northern Ireland were just chasing shadows at this point. Marshall played sort of on the right a little bit. Didn't really get to see him. He was just sort of running after whoever's playing left wing back for Germany. I want to say it was David Ram, but I could be incorrect about that. I'm just making an assumption here. But certainly, he was running around after Robin Koch, the former Leeds United player. So he was up against Robin Koch a lot. Ironically, plays for a club owned by a Robin Koch as well. Sorry, I'll get my quote. This is what happens. This is what happens when I do a day without recording. It goes to my head. But it was a game that he struggled to make an impact on. I'm all for it though. I'm all for having your younger players as your third choice for the position, and if the first two are unavailable, he gets an opportunity. And I'd like to think that we would give Marshall a go before we start reshuffling the deck, because I'd like to keep Bowen where he is. I'd like to keep Paqueta where he is against Nottingham Forest. So if Füllkrug is injured, I feel like Wilson will get the start. But what I'd strongly be saying to Graham Potter, if I was Bruno, I'm his mate, I'm next to him, if I'm now Bruno, I'd be saying to Graham, don't be scared. Especially considering you're at home, don't be scared to play Callum Marshall. Even if you don't do it from the start, you should possibly consider doing it from the start, because we've seen Wilson be effective off the bench. What we haven't seen yet is Wilson be effective from the start of a game. But if you do start Wilson, fine. But don't be scared to give Marshall the half hour. Once Wilson's done, put Callum Marshall on, put him up front. This lot, the fans, will get behind Marshall. They will support him. I hope he gets an opportunity. Now, of course, we can still sign players. I had a little look at the free agents currently. I'm not going to lie, there's none that jump out. I think we've got the best one in Kyle Walker-Peters. I think, Josh Brownhill technically is still a free agent, although expected to sign for a club in Saudi. 100 grand a week he's going to be picking up. So fair. Justifies leaving Burnley, doesn't it, when he triple his wages overnight. But there's no real free agents to stand out. However, I might do a video about free agents. If people fancy it, we'll get up on the screen, we'll have a look at the list, have a little discussion around some of them, and have a bit of light-hearted fun. Now, someone that's not injured, thankfully, touch wood, is Somerville. I seen the rumour going around on Thursday because he hadn't been spotted in training ground footage or any training footage. It meant he was injured. I think he's just on a different programme. I think considering he's been out for so long, and what we have to remember, he wasn't meant to play against Nottingham Forest. The plan has always been that his comeback game was Spurs. After the international break, that's when Somerville was meant to come back into the team. But Potter gambled, and it worked 100%. I think it was a case of, well, he's fit-ish. And Potter thought, oh, I'm going to use him against Nottingham Forest. I need to use him because we are in a bad situation here. We need to just gamble. And it paid off massively. So I would expect that the club are looking after Somerville, saying, right, he's been out for 6-7 months. He's been out for. So it's a big injury he's had. So he's played against Nottingham Forest. So what we're going to do now is take him out of the first team, invite him in, and put him in his own little programme in terms of own individual training. So he's involved with the first team training. Then he's not, then he is, just to keep him okay, to keep our eye on him, because it's important he stays fit. So when there was nothing of him on Thursday, I wasn't that worried, actually. I was like, yeah, it's normal, right? He's 7-month layoff. He's going to have, he's still good. You don't just go through rehab and you go into first team training, that's it, forget about it, you continue. You know that he's still going to have his own individual programme. But I seen the rumours going around he got injured, and even I started to get a little bit worried. And then when I heard he played in the behind closed doors friendly, which finished 1-1, I assume you know, but if not, finished 1-1. Fearon scored. Guilherme got half an hour as well. Somerville participated in that game, so it's good. Bar Fulkrug, and obviously no Wes Foderingham. Graham Potter's got a full squad for the game against Spurs on Saturday, so that's good. That's a good thing. We can still sign free agent players, and the rule is you effectively, whatever you've got when it comes to registering your squad, whoever you've got that has to be registered, you've got to register them. So you can't just say Cornet was still here. We can't go, well, we're going to register 24 and we're not going to register Cornet. You know, you've got to register Cornet. And if you've still got space, then you can bring in free agents. So we've got 26 players at present, but 6 of them don't require registration. So Guilherme, Diouf, testing myself here now, I shouldn't have done this. Earthy, Potts, Scarles does, Marshall. There you go, that's it, that's 6, isn't it? I think that's 6. And Fernandez, he also doesn't need registered. There you go, that's your 6th one. So we've only had to register 20 players. So we've actually got space, if we really wanted, for 5 players. Which, you know, we're not going to use. But my point is, if we wanted to dip into the free agent market, we can. Obviously, we're losing Foderingham as a homegrown player, but we had 9 previously, so we've still got 8, so we're more than fine. We are, in terms of squad space, we're in a good position. I actually quite like it, having 26 players, but 6 of them are on the younger side of things. I like it. I like the makeup of the squad. The only thing, like I said, the only thing I'm frustrated about is the lack of additional striker. I'd be fine with new guy, Fulkrug, Marshall, or even new guy, Wilson, Marshall. I'd have been happy with that. It's the fact that it's... So I quite like 2 seniors and 1 young striker. I like that as a make-up. It's just 2 injury-prone seniors. That's the bit I don't like. Regardless of who it is, that's the part that I don't like. Anyway, I'm rambling on. Thank you very much for joining me. So that's the news. Foderingham is now a player for Aris Limassol. I forgot how you say it. I memorised it for the start of the video. I forgot. Limassol? I can't remember. Anyway, he's off to Cyprus. He's gone. Fabianski could be coming back to West Ham. I'd like it. It just feels a bit... Well, we wasted a couple of months of pre-season for him, haven't we? But still a huge upgrade. It's just, why? Why has this happened? Is it just because Wes has got first-team football? Or has Potter looked at Areola and Hermansen and thought, not convinced? Like I said, put it this way. If you said to me now, if we signed Fabianski, if he was to start a league game, let's just say by Christmas time, I wouldn't be shocked.